10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Growing older, what's next?
With Marc and Bill and Laura.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mark. That, of course, is Bill is this way. I could never be a weather guy. You know what? I could never do it. Bill and Laura, good to see you guys. How's everybody doing this morning?
Oh, we've been having a string of fabulous weather, so I'm very happy.
Good for you.
Well, here, let's look at it this way, Mark. It's 97 degrees in Florida. There's a Sahara dust cloud coming over us. COVID is raging. I'm not going anywhere. Thank goodness I can watch this show on Friday mornings.
I did see the weather guy this morning, 97, and it feels like 107 here. I'm in our office now, which I didn't intend to be. I was going to do it from home like I have been for the past 3 months, but the internet went bad, and I had to very quickly rush over here to get this done. And, I was kind of irritated about that. But while I was driving, I started to do the math, guys. And I think what the internet has done, how it has held up, how it has served businesses and individuals over the past 3 months is amazing. I think, Bill, I've done 15 webinars. We've done 10 of these shows. I've probably done 15. We did this COVID live series. You've done an equally number of interviews, and I don't think we've had but maybe one problem.
Yeah, we've had to do it too to help our business survive. I mean, you can't send camera crews to all these locations anymore. So what can you do? Thank goodness that we were nimble enough and the internet was robust enough that we could almost create this program. Okay, folks, do you know this story? On a Tuesday, Mark tells our company, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we start doing a Facebook and YouTube show?" And we all go, "Hey, that's a good idea. We'll take a couple of months to think about it." Mark goes, "No, let's do it Friday." And we've been doing it ever since.
I didn't realize it happened that fast.
And then he goes, "Let's call Laura. She'll go for it."
Yeah, it's been fun.
I don't know if we're proud of that, but we have learned you have to be nimble these days. And Laura, I know you. I mean, you've got your own company, and also Jimmy Webb. You guys have been leveraging the internet to kind of keep busy as well.
Oh, totally. And, I work remotely with an editor, and we put together a whole music series during COVID where I never even went into the room where he was. And we put out a gorgeous series. It's really fantastic what we've been able to do. I know a lot of people were very hesitant in the beginning, and do we need this? And is it invading our privacy? But darn, it's made life really so much easier.
And it's been great fun. I hope you guys out there get that we're not only colleagues, but we're friends. I look forward to this. I wish the Fridays didn't come so quickly. I mean, it's frightening how fast the weeks go by. But, we've been talking about doing a show on pets, one of these days, because, pets are a big deal with everybody, especially people over the age of 40 and 50 and 60. But we decided not to hold this because it just happened this week. Let's take a picture at this at Augie. This is a golden retriever. Her name is August. Actually, they call her Augie. She celebrated her 20th birthday back in August, but just this week she officially became the oldest ever dog of her breed. Typically, Goldens live about 10 to 12 years, like most big breeds. But here she is, 20 years old. Look at that face. Isn't that amazing, guys?
20 years old. All the love that dog must have brought to that family.
And I'm sure all the products, the supplements the dog has taken to stay, the anti-aging canine medicine that's out there. Yeah, you know what? That's a dog that must have. Mark, one of the remarkable things that you were telling us about the dog before we went on is the story of its adoption. Right? What was it? It was adopted at
14, 2 years after its life expectancy. So that's a nice family that gives a 14-year-old dog a great life and still going strong.
Part of the story.
Yeah, and taking on a dog at 14, I mean, I don't mean to make this sound bad, but I think about what George Carlin, his whole bit about pets, and he says, you know it when you buy the pet. You're supposed to know it in the pet shop. it's going to end badly. You're purchasing a tragedy. But you know what? I mean, he was making fun, and of course, all life is going to end at some point. I would not give up any of the pain and suffering we've had with our poor little sick cat for a moment, because he's brought us so much joy. Pets just bring so much love and laughter into the house.
You know, it's a great point. We don't have a dog now. We had a golden retriever. Casey was the girls' first dog. I think we got him when they were 3 and 4, and he passed away when they were, you know, in their early teens. And it was difficult on everybody. We then got a Labrador retriever, Naples, and, you know, unbelievable dog, but it was tough. You know, right now we're kind of trying to enjoy not having a dog, but it is a sacrifice. They bring so much to your life. And Bill, I know you guys had to put Max down recently, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, we've had 3 dogs and 3 cats, and the last one that we had, we just lost a few months ago. What a great animal. And, you know, I don't know if you guys will get this, but as we sat there, and there is nothing harder, there's nothing more gut-wrenching, nothing sadder than saying goodbye to your animal there. But you know what? Every time it's happened, I found myself saying, I hope I go that way, with everybody around me, as comfortable as possible, and with nothing but love there. And there's no way our dog didn't know that all the love he gave us. And in my head, I keep thinking, he knows that he's moving on so that we can share that same love for another lucky.
Oh, Bill, you're amazing. That's so beautiful.
But isn't it? I mean, it's really the hardest thing. It's so hard to do, but
so hard.
And now we're determined. Here's another one, Bill. We're going to do this. We're not going to do it in 2 days, but and I don't want to scare anybody away out there. I want to do
another show.
I want to do, well, it'll be on this show. I want to do an end of life show, and put the Growing Bolder spin on it, because, you know, this is something I think we need to have a national discussion on. We can't ignore it. You know, if any one of us was going to get out of here alive, it'd be a discussion we shouldn't probably have. But you know, you make a great point. I've talked to hospice people who describe a good death, and let's do a show on that one day. But for now, let's move on, if that's okay. You know, one of the things that we do here at Growing Bolder, folks, I hope you've seen this. We've got something internally that we call the someone like me effect. And certainly I don't mean like me personally, but what it means is that when we can see ourselves and others, when we can see someone doing something that we hadn't thought of or didn't think we could do, that's when the switch goes off and we begin to believe that more is possible. It's not a quote. It's not the opinion of some expert. It's not the result of research. It's seeing someone like me. So very quickly, I want to show you 3 things. First of all, a video we showed you 10 weeks ago. This is Captain Tom Moore, a World War II veteran outside of his home in the UK, 99 years old, and he wanted to raise money for the National Health Service in the UK to help with the pandemic response there. So he said, I'm going to get on my walker and I'm going to walk 100 times back and forth in my garden before I turn 100. And I'm doing it as a fundraiser. So anything I raise, I'm giving to the National Health Service. Well, he made it before his 100th birthday. And to date, he has raised $40 million. Meanwhile, back in Minnesota, watching the news reports of that was another 99-year-old World War II veteran. His name was Mickey Nelson. He was inspired by Captain Tom, and he figured if Captain Tom could walk 100 laps with a walker, why couldn't he walk 100 miles, because he didn't need a walker, by the end of the summer to raise money for the Salvation Army to feed the poor people in his community in Minnesota. He started in May. He's already walked 60 miles. He's raised over $100,000. And by the way, Mickey turns 100 tomorrow. Watching Captain Tom from her home in Scotland was another 99-year-old person, this time a woman. Her name is Margaret Payne. She was inspired by what she saw, but she didn't want to leave her house. So she decided she would climb up her steps as many times as it took to reach the height of the Sullivan Mountain, a famous iconic mountain in Scotland, because she climbed it when she was 14 back in 1944 during World War II with her sister. So she said, I'm going to climb my steps 238 times in order to equal the 3,000 feet of that mountain, and I'm going to donate the money to the National Health Service. And she now has raised over $500,000. So guys, there you have it. You got 3 100-year-olds raising $41 million in 10 weeks just because they were creative and they cared.
We all have the opportunity to make a difference. Sometimes you hear these stories of amazing people doing amazing things, but it's the little things that matter. You do something in your life that you can use to make a difference. Mark, my mom walks from the one end of the driveway to the mailbox every day, back and forth and back and forth. 92. And we all wonder, what do you do that for? They're going to come take you away one day. But it's what she loves to do.
Yeah, it is remarkable. It's great to see that. And so folks, what can you do? Think about that and let us know. Share a comment down there what you have done. And there's no act that's too small. You don't need to raise $1 million or even $10. Leave a comment. Let us know what you're doing, because this is part of the stereotype we're trying to overcome, and that is the fact that people over a certain age, have no value. Who among us has raised $40 million for charity in the past 10 weeks? So, that's pretty cool. Moving on, we talk a lot about, what a difference mindset makes as we age. We see it in ourselves, our families, and our friends. A lot of us just get really entrenched in who we are, in where we've been, in what we're doing, and others look outward, look forward, always trying to figure out what's next. Well, one of our great collaborators, contributors here on Growing Bolder is a guy by the name of Dr. Bill Thomas. He is a Harvard-trained geriatrician, truly one of the world's thought leaders when it comes to aging. He, was the guy literally who transformed the way that older people are cared for in nursing homes with his Eden Project. He had the great idea that, maybe old people would like to have pets and gardens and a home-like atmosphere in nursing homes. It didn't have to feel like an institution. He was on stage with Bill and I, and Laura was a part of this as well for our launch pad to What's Next national television show. And before the show, he sat down with Bill and talked about the two types of people that he's seen in his practice as they age.
I often saw it in my office. Almost two kinds of older people. There were those who were looking backward and those who were looking forward. And the ones who were looking backward were pining for something. They're struggling to feel like they were holding on to something and ultimately failing, because time is a harsh mistress. The ones who were looking forward were asking, wondering, exploring, trying to figure out what comes next. And they were always so much more interesting. I can't say that they were more healthy or more physically fit. They were just more interesting people. And I learned over the course of my career that the health status was probably second tier or third tier in terms of life satisfaction. These other things really towered above how many meds you were on or how achy your knees were.
Isn't that amazing to hear a world-renowned MD say that, health status is not nearly as important as life satisfaction? Who can argue with that?
I think we're seeing that more and more, that it's really about interaction with people makes you happier, makes you feel better, makes you healthier. And that's a great study. I love what he was saying.
And you know what? Deep down inside, every one of you out there knows that. You've known it already, but to hear it from somebody like that is amazing. I do quickly want to mention that there is a lot more from Bill Thomas, and this guy, as Mark says, is amazing. At growingbolder.com and on the portal, the Growing Bolder portal, if you become a member, check both of those things out because he's fabulous. But yeah, it's the difference of standing on your heels, wondering when something bad is going to happen to you, or standing on your toes, leaning into life and saying, what can I do to make this really worthwhile?
You know, it's a great point, and it's a lesson. You know, we're always trying to learn, folks. We could not believe more in what we do, and the importance of our message. But you know, we're always trying to refine it, and you know, it is interesting because you know we're always encouraging people to make lifestyle modification to get healthier, which is critically important. But you know, Dr. Thomas's point is health is unbelievably important, but not nearly as important as life satisfaction. So you have to find a way to, you know, to be kind to yourself and to pursue your passions, to do things that make you happy.
And you can actually find anything as you get older. You know, my mom's finding it a little harder to read an actual book, so she's turned to audiobooks, and it's just woken her up again to all these worlds. So I think we have technology on our side now, where if you don't want to go outside on a bicycle, you can ride a bicycle in your house. There's so many things we can do to adapt and continue doing what makes us feel good and makes us continue to be just vibrant people.
You know, it's Mark's main point too. You know, Mark, I'm sorry, you talk all the time, and that's why I love to repeat this about how you know the society brainwashes us into thinking that we can't. Your mom can't read anymore. Okay, books are not for me anymore. But that's not true. You can be you. There's so many tools out there. There's so many opportunities, so many options. Don't buy into the fact that you got to sit back, slow down. The world is not for me anymore, because it is.
I don't mean to talk all the time, Bill. I really don't. I apologize for that. You know, Laura mentioned the word adapt, which is a great segue to where we want to go now, because, you know, we totally agree with what Dr. Bill Thomas said. You know, one of the true keys, maybe the number one key to successful aging, to active longevity, is adaptation and accommodation. And by that, we mean that we all have to continually adapt and then accommodate to the curveballs that life throws at us. Some of them are related to age. They're unavoidable. You know, others we never see coming. COVID pandemic is a perfect example. The economy crashes is a perfect example. We lose our spouse or our loved one or our significant other, you know, unexpectedly. These things are going to happen. And, you know, we have to figure out a way to adapt and to accommodate, and then to begin to think about what's next. Here's three people that did exactly that.
Ooh, whoa, whoa. What a little moonlight can do to me.
Jackie Jones struggled when she lost two family members and suffered a stroke, all in a very short period of time. It was her family and friends, past and present, that kept her going.
You know, when you got two choices, you can either sit and worry or get up and do something about it. The voices of my husband, my mom, my sisters and brothers, friends were all saying, hey, it's not over. It's not over.
When Virginia Farino lost her husband, she lost her passion for life, but she found it again in music and an old exercise bike.
There comes a time when you have to make a decision. Are you going to wallow in pity for yourself all your life, or are you going to stop it and then start enjoying it? So, I'm enjoying it.
It was the ability to adapt and accommodate that kept concert pianist Leon Fleischer moving forward when a rare nerve disorder robbed him of the ability to play with one hand.
It is, to a large extent, a question of whether the glass is half empty or half full. If the glass is half full, you suddenly leave yourself open to many more possibilities. So when it's at its worst, you've got to do the tough thing and open up to these possibilities.
How many stories have we done like that, Bill? And when I watch that, I want to put them all together into a 2-hour special, one after the other, because it's inspiring.
I never get tired of those.
Yeah, and aren't they powerful? Oh my God, how many times have you wanted to quit because, well, something wasn't working out right? Or like that one woman said, do you want to wallow in pity or do you want to start enjoying life? I mean, that's so true.
Yeah, it is amazing. And, you know, this is, Another somber note here, folks. This is the greatest time in history to be alive. When the Social Security Act in 1932 determined that we would get full retirement benefits at the age of 65, the average life expectancy was 62. Today, the average life expectancy is 80. But for the last 3 years, it's gone backwards. First time it's happened. 3 consecutive years, there's been a decrease in life expectancy in this country. The last time it happened was 1918, and remember the 1918 pandemic and World War I. This time, it's deaths of despair. It's overdoses from opioids primarily, and it's suicide. Suicide is growing among all age groups because people just can't find their way forward. Like all 3 of those people, life can get better. We just have to help one another when we encounter those times, and we all do. All right, Billy.
Yeah, just to put a bow on that, Mark, it's easy for us to sit here sometimes and say these things, and I think people wonder, well, they don't really know what I'm going through. But those 3 people, I mean, what can happen worse to a concert pianist than losing his right hand? It's just incredible, the resilience of people, and how no matter what your situation, folks, you can find joy. And part of the way you do it is by surrounding yourself with as many people as possible, as many good people, as many people who care about you, strong people. One of the questions that a lot of us have is, well, how do we do that in a world that sometimes starts to shrink a little bit? It's not always easy. But you know what we do? Just like with those 3 people Mark introduced us to, we like to find ordinary people and ask them how they do it, because we learn amazing things that we can pass along. And here's a great example. Here's a guy who found an incredible way of finding his tribe.
You've heard us say it before. There really is no doubt about it. One of the best ways to connect with life is by finding your identity, places that challenge you to be the best version of you. Now, some people find that through hobbies and clubs and groups and athletics, and some find it the way our next guest has, by making a difference in the lives of others. Let's say hi to John Komarovsky. How are you, John?
I'm happy to be here.
We are thrilled to have you. And I have to tell you, you have been involved in everything from city government to fundraising to serving on task forces to Boy Scouts to coaching to biking, plus over 3 decades as one of the top security industries attorneys in the nation. John, you are a busy guy. What do you have against sitting on a couch?
I do that occasionally, but you kind of lose track of it if you just sit on the couch all the time. It's the contrast of actually doing stuff that gets you excited and vibrant and live and passionate about stuff.
You moved away from the Washington, D.C. area to the Villages, Florida, but you didn't slow down at a time when you would think that would be a spot to do that. The Villages, though, is a pretty amazing place. How does where you live make a difference in how you live?
I think if you surround yourself with a whole bunch of people who are highly active, and you have lots of different clubs that are available. We have 2,000 different clubs down here. They come here for it sounds like a trite developer's marketing thing, but they come here for the active lifestyle. Their homes are, close by one another, but there's recreational facilities everywhere. There's 58 golf courses. I'm a member of 12 country clubs just by being a resident here. And so there's always something going on. So I ride my bike with my bike club 5 days a week for a couple hours every day, 30 to 50 miles. And then every afternoon I play 9 holes of golf 5 days a week. So I'm meeting with lots of different people, all of whom want to be active and take part and have fun stuff to do. It's way more fun to do it with people. You get out and you do it and you have fun with them. And then there's all sorts of other activities that spill out of that. We have dances and parties and all sorts of civic events and contributions. We get 350 bikes we collect, give them to the sheriff and fix them up, give them to the sheriff to give to poor kids. We raised $250,000 for the local hospital. This is just people who are getting together, enjoying one another's company, to get really excited about just having fun together doing interesting, fulfilling stuff. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing because all of that happened because to those people that one time you said yes. You said, yes, I'll give it a try. And when you step into that world of saying yes, of being willing to put yourself out there and making a difference for others, what does that do for you or for someone?
Oh my gosh. You feel good doing it for the other people, but you actually get into the flow. The time just blows past you. You get really deeply involved in what you're doing, and you feel good about it. You get this fantastic exercise. For example, with the biking, my resting heart rate is 44 now because I ride 30 to 50 miles a day. But so you're healthy, you're with friends, all the stuff that they prescribe for you to, of what's going to make you live long and prosper is you can do it by just lots of activity with friends that you enjoy. But I get up in the morning, I get on my bike, after I pumped up my tires, get ready to go to a ride, I break into a big dopey grin every morning. And sometimes when it's really nice out and I'm really looking forward to a special ride, I'll just start laughing because it's like, smile's not enough to kind of express how much fun I know I'm going to have and that I do have just from taking part in all this fun stuff with friends.
John Komarovsky, folks, found his tribe by making a difference for others. Where will you find yours? Incredible guy, great guy. You just want to hang out with him. The trick to all this is you have to take one small step. And Mark, how many times have we heard the say yes theory? Where, one thing leads to another. He didn't do it because he had to do it. He did it because he loved every single opportunity that was opened up by the previous one. So finding your tribe, man, that's the way to go.
You're muted.
Yes.
Yeah, we should all wake up with a big dopey smile every single morning. And you're absolutely right. Bill and I have probably done more interviews with active centenarians than maybe any two media people in the world. And it's so interesting. People that are 104 years old have to-do list. They cannot wait to get up and start their day with that big dopey smile. It really is very, very cool. And, we got to have things that we're passionate about. And Laura, I have to tell you, one of the things that we love about you, of the many things, in addition to your remarkable talent, your amazing wild hair, is your passion for so many different things. We learn every time we have a conversation that, Laura's always, let's do this. I could do this. I'm interested in this. So today she's got something that she's interested in that she wants to share.
I do. Bill, did I just see you drinking like the most boring coffee? I think I did. Really? That is so, the two of you, that is so yesterday.
What do you mean, Laura?
Jacob,
tell us more.
Well, we are all about Dalgona coffee now, whipped coffee. And these are fantastic. Yes. Jacob, there you go. Look at those coffees. So this is what I'm going to show you how to make quickly today. This started as like this TikTok, Instagram craze where people were just making these beautiful whipped coffees. And I wanted to try them because it looked really good. So I wanted to make them while we were in lockdown. And actually, I think that's why this started, was because we all couldn't go out to the coffee shop. So we figured out a way to make these wonderful coffees at home. So what you need to do, and I just want to show you something. I have to show you this because look who's with me. He has to be in my chair. So that's Chai. But anyway, so he's not going to like it when I turn the whip on. So the thing about Dalgona coffee is they're really sweet. And I try to be careful. So I did some research and I was like, let's try to figure out a way to do this. So I found a website called Eating Bird Food. Now they have tested this recipe. So we're not going to mess with it. I've tweaked it a little. So you do exactly what these ingredients are and what we're supposed to do in here. So we're going to use, have you ever had a Nescafe? Have you ever been to like Greece or an ethnic restaurant and they serve a Nescafe? That's sort of what this will be. So we're going to use instant coffee, if you can believe it. And we're going to use coconut sugar. Reason? Because we don't want refined sugar. We want something a little bit healthier. And then you use any kind of milk you want in the glass. You're going to have a glass of ice on the side. You're going to put I use unsweetened coconut milk because I think that's just, I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy and it's a nice addition to the coffee. So we're going to have that there. Okay, that's the easy part. Now here's where the fun begins. So we take our 2 tablespoons of instant coffee. Should be holding it from this side. I should have known better. Now here is our 1.5 tablespoons of the coconut sugar. Now you have to use a little sugar or it's not going to whip up, and it has to be instant coffee or if it's not going to whip up. Now I've pre-boiled a little bit of water. So here are 2 tablespoons. Let me do it this way. 2 tablespoons of boiling water. Now this is where things get a little crazy. You're going to hear some noise. I'm going to show you how I use this wonderful hand mixer that my mom got for me. Now sometimes this makes a mess. I think we have a picture of a mess that I made one time when I was making this coffee, and we're not, look at that. It's crazy. The whole kitchen was covered with it. So wish me luck, guys. Here we go. Here we go. So I'm going to do this here as long as you're willing to watch, and then I'll go over to the stand mixer and get the other one. That's how they decide. He's like still out of here. I'm using like that. But look at how fast that consistency is changing. And what I love about these is you can make this for a company. You can make it a half hour, almost an hour ahead. And if you make your coffee whip good enough, it's going to stay. And then when people come in, look at this. It's like, it's almost there. When people come in, you've got these gorgeous drinks there ready for them. Look at this. I turned those simple ingredients into this fabulous, almost like ice cream kind of thing. Then you take your spatula and you put it on top of your coffee, of your coconut milk or your almond or plain milk, whatever kind you like. Oh, almond is nice. I like oat or coconut in mine, quite frankly. Oh, the pressure's on, guys. It's not looking too pretty right now, but I'm doing the best I can. And this is even nice just for yourself because it's pretty easy to make. Make this in the morning. And you could, if you were making this for a dessert, if you were having someone over or you were going to serve it as a dessert, you could put a little bit of whipped cream on top. Oh my God, wouldn't that be crazy? Put a little bit of whipped cream, a couple of sprinkles. I think you have to have a straw. And I like to mix it in a little, and it's delicious. Mix it in. And if you want to put a little stevia in it, because the coffee's super strong, you could put some stevia in it. Again, I keep away from white sugar. So there's your ingredients for the healthier Dalgona coffee. 2 tablespoons instant coffee, 1.5 tablespoons coconut sugar, 2 tablespoons of boiling water, and as much milk and then ice. And here it is. I wish you were here to share it with me.
Laura, did you forget when do you put in the Irish cream?
This is a drink for everybody, but it is going to get you wired.
The Dalgona. You need to find a way to enjoy yourself a little more. That was fun. The coffee aside, it was fun to watch.
Have fun, guys. You know that.
Very, very nice. All right, let's begin to put this thing into the garage this morning, if we can. Our quote of the day comes from Belle Kaufman, who was a teacher and an author. She wrote the book back in 1964, the bestseller Up the Down Staircase. At 100 years old, Belle Kaufman said this: "I like the word old, not senior, that's for proms, older. Older than whom? Old is honorable and ripe." Belle Kaufman lived until she was 103 years old. She continued to write until she was 101. And, I like that quote because, words do matter. And for generation after generation, old was actually, it was a term of respect. It is still today in some cultures, but it certainly isn't in ours. And this is why companies have literally spent millions upon millions of dollars to do market research, to try to find a word for aging that we would feel better about, which I think is kind of silly. In fact, I Googled synonyms for aging. And here's what I found. This is verbatim. This is from one thesaurus after another. Synonyms for aging: declining, waning, failing, falling, sinking, mellowing, senescent, another word for senile, deteriorating, wearing out, lapsing, outworn, fading, crumbling, decaying, moldering, falling apart, doddering, 1 foot in the grave, over the hill, and stale. You know, the problem is that words do matter. Now, you know, we can't allow words, you know, to bully us, because they do have impact not only on what we think, but how we feel, and ultimately how we age. And we can't let someone calling us senior bother us. We can't let that impact the way we feel about ourselves. You know, the word old didn't used to be used with contempt. It wasn't a pejorative. It wasn't something that was, you know, meant to make you feel bad. So I'm with Bell Kaufman. You know, I say we reclaim the word old. When we get to the point where we can say, I am old, with pride and with power, you know, then we will really have something. So, you know, that's what's on my mind today. What's on yours? Do you mind being called senior? Is there a word you like better than that? Are you okay with old? Can we change the definition of old? Bill and Laura, I sure hope so, because, you know, I think as we find day after day, year after year, aging is not easy, but the alternative sucks. And aging can be really cool and a lot of fun. So that's what I'm thinking about this morning.
You know, just coincidentally, I listen to a meditation every morning, and then I do my own meditation. And the one this morning was about getting older, and that we should look at it differently and be more, look at the value the preciousness of life, and that having an older person and a younger person together is so valuable, because one gains life from the other. It's a push and pull. And it was really a fabulous meditation this morning, just about the fact how we need to spend more time with an older person because they have so much to give.
I love that. You know, maybe Laura's morning meditation could become a regular segment. You know, we change it every week. I think it makes sense. Billy, you got a final thought?
Yeah, absolutely. That age question is a great one. I'm so glad you brought that up. And reading those words, it's like it's infuriating. Go to growingbolder.com. Click on any story on the website, and there are hundreds and hundreds of them. If all those adjectives that Mark read, or all those synonyms, you could put them equals feeble next to those. Nobody on that website is anything close to feeble. You will come away so empowered, so optimistic, so ready, so excited about what's possible as we move forward. You'll never think of the word senior citizen. You'll never think of any of those words again, because they only apply in certain exceptions. The vast majority of people are vibrant, cool, ready to go, and living lives of purpose and loving every minute of it.
Amen, Brother Bill. All right, before we go, you guys are family, so we like to show you behind the scenes. Michael Cloutier, get Penelope and get ready. Jacob Langston, put yourself up if you would. Mike Nannis, who normally punches this show, is on vacation. So Jacob Langston, I didn't want to mention him off the top in case things went bad, but fabulous job, Jacob. Somebody's got to mute their microphone. But Jacob Langston, thank you. And Michael Cloutier, who is a Growing Bolder producer. Who is that, Michael? Who you got on your lap?
This is Penelope.
All right. Michael is the one who needed to mute his mic. That's Penelope. And don't they make a couple? All right, gang. We started with a dog. We're ending with a dog. Any last words? Laura's got a last word, but we need to unmute her mic.
I said, I think I want to take off next week. It's a holiday.
Thank you for that. You know, Laura's the one that kind of keeps us, you know, on track here. It is a holiday. Next Friday is the beginning of a holiday weekend, and we've decided we're going to kind of lay low, take the day off, spend some time with our family and friends. We encourage you to do the same, but be back here the following Friday because, Laura, we've got a great interview, don't we?
We do. Henry Diltz, rock and roll photographer. He is just wonderful. Any famous album cover you can think of, he's probably shot it. And he's just this wonderful, kind guy who's got all the backstories. So this will be fun.
Yeah, Crosby, Stills and Nash, The Doors, everybody.
Joni Mitchell, Jimmy Webb. Got them all.
All right, guys. Bill, put it in the garage, will you? I'm out of juice.
I would say, folks, if you enjoy this experiment of ours called Growing Bolder, What's Next, please spread the word. Let's see if we can light a fire under this thing and keep it going. We want to make it what you want to hear. There's nobody that's delivering a message like Growing Bolder is. And it's one that not only do we need to hear it, it sounds so great, doesn't it? A half hour of empowerment, of motivation, of believing in you. We're not selling you anything. We're not giving you steps on how to do something. We're just encouraging you to get out there and live life to the fullest because it's so much better than sitting back and watching it go by.
Love that, man.
So have a great 4th of July weekend, folks. We're going to have Laura's drink and see if we can spray it all over our own kitchen.
All right, Jacob.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Roll the close.
Growing